Hi folks, this is just a follow-up to the lesson where you were introduced to Tinkercad after doing the styrofoam modeling of toothbrush handles, um, uh, and you may have already watched those 7 excellent tutorial videos from Tinkercad itself on how you actually move things around, how you shape things, how you can actually subtract shapes from other shapes, how you can measure things, change dimensions of things, in effect kind of creating a really good 3D virtual model, which you can of course as well 3D print. It's absolutely brilliant. So I'm just going to start off a new design. Tinkercad will automatically come up with these zany sort of names like that. I'm just going to call this toothbrush the second. Oh. There we go. And I'm going to drag my box in first. Now my measurements when I created this were roughly 40 by 40 by 100. This is the styrofoam model of my final sort of toothbrush. That's what it kind of came out at. I'm going to give that a little radius of 2 to give it a beveled edge. One of the questions that I kind of had after this, I think for a lot of students, would have been, how do I actually create the interspaces for the fingers? And this is how you go about doing it. You use these sort of subtractive shapes as well. And I'm just going to turn those 90. Now what I notice about this is this actually syncs through what's called my work plane, which is called there. That's what it's called on all these CAD programs, these computer-aided design programs. I'm just going to go up to 0 here, and that means that I'm just sitting nicely on the work plane. If I go above that, and it will usually go up in increments of 1 millimeter, it will kind of automatically kind of tell me I want to go back down to 0, and that will bring me down to 0. I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut, and I'm going to use Control-C, Control-V to copy this. And what I'm then going to do is bring the shape up by 25, because that's the radius, that's the diameter that I used for the other shape. And the reason I arrived at 25 is because that is actually when I measure my fingers from side to side, they come out at about 25. So let's just, oops, so I'm zooming out here a bit too much. Keep going up. I've done this in 2 moves. Yeah, great. So I can actually see there is actually the entire length of that going up as 50. Because I did that, I split the move of that, if you noticed, because I had to kind of zoom out. Just going to copy that and paste that. So I couldn't use the initial move of 25, which I'm also using the keypad for. Or you can use the keys along the top of your keyboard. It's all very intuitive. It's a really great program. It does a lot of the work for you. I've selected these all. I'm going to align them again, which I love to do. Really makes your life a lot easier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to group these as well. And I'm actually going to pull them out. I'm going to just select this here. I'm going to make it sort of 60. Let's see. And I'm going to use the keyboard cursors to just move this back. And that's, I don't really care like what length it is on either side. I'm just going to actually do it so it goes over the required length of each side of the block on that side. Yeah. And as you can see, this is now intersecting those planes quite nicely. I don't want to do this yet. I'm going to just keep this to the side. I'm going to draw another cylinder. And I'm going to make this cylinder 15 by 15. It's gone. Okay, and then I'm just going to make this using this anchor point or drag handle. I'm going to make this just taller than the shape. I'm going to select this shape and I'm going to use the shift button, or I could just draw a whole window around this, but I'm not going to do that, to align the two. So alignment. Okay, so center them to each other, and I'm going to group them. And what happens when you do this is that you the subtraction sort of shape actually pulls a shape out of the rectangular block. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to ungroup this, and I'm going to take one of these cylinders. I'm going to take the bottom one, I'm going to copy that as well, and I'm going to just move that over to the other side. And you see why I'm going to do this in a minute. And let's see, yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to just take this and I'm going to make it into sort of an ellipsoid shape. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not going to be too exact. I'm going to take the whole shape and I'm just going to push it up one or two using that shape there, using the sort of little cone on top. I always think of that as a witch's hat. And I'm pretty happy with this. Just going to line everything up. I'm going to select this shape. I'm just going to move it backwards. I'm going to just move that into the other shape. Let's see what happens. Yeah, looks good. Doesn't have to be exactly, you know, sort of equal lengths on either side of this. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to take this and I'm going to move that into the shape as well, just using the cursor buttons. And you see why it just needs to be slightly longer. Now, a mistake that I made in my first design when I started this video was that this cylinder here, you could actually see it intersecting these arcs which have been scooped out, these concave arcs which have been scooped out. So I wanted to just try and avoid meeting that inner cylinder which has been scooped out already. And I'm going to select everything by drawing that box around them, and I'm going to group them, and there we go. And that's actually looking a little bit more ergonomic. Now you can, you know, add more sort of subtractive shapes to this. You could maybe kind of go around the handle. You could add cylinders. You could actually make your toothbrush handle out of cylinders, for example. You could put cylinders together. I just really wanted to kind of start you off and get you show you what's possible in terms of adding and subtracting using the basic shapes. I hope that was helpful, and see you next time. Thanks for watching.